I'm Wendy Capewell and the host of this podcast, which is all about relationships, the one with ourselves and the one with others. My guests and I will be sharing our experience and our views over the coming weeks. So, on with the show. Farrah Blakely is with me today. She's a love coach, and I really want to hear what she's got to say because she's going to talk about online dating. And it's especially more difficult during this pandemic and how we approach it. So, Farrah, come and introduce yourself to everyone.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm Farrah Blakely. I am your love coach. I coach women who want it all, including the love that they deserve. So I've been in the coaching business pretty much the last year and a half to almost 2 years. I focus on coaching high-achieving women that are nurturers by nature to others, but usually put themselves last on the list when it's time to receive love. And I help them connect to their inner spirit so that they can use that to attract their ideal partner. So I'm in Dallas, Texas. That's where I reside, and that's where I work, originally from Oklahoma, Tulsa, Oklahoma, but I've been in Dallas for, 30 years, 35 years, yeah.
Okay, so yes, that's a long way from the UK, but with technology, nothing gets in the way, does it?
Exactly. I'm so glad that you invited me to be here.
Online dating. Yeah. I mean, dating anyway, I think is always, what do we look for? What is it?
I think dating, my personal belief is dating is self-discovery. So a lot of times we look at dating because we've been taught to look at dating as you got to get the guy, you got to be the perfect catch. You have to be this certain way that's outside of who you truly are and who you are from the deepest inner part of yourself, the part of yourself that God made you to be. So when you separate from that and you adhere to all these things that people say you got to do to get a date or meet a man or find a catch, it's not sustainable. And then it becomes awkward and hard and difficult. And then you just don't want to do it. You shut down. And now it's like, well, I don't know why I can't, find the right guy, or I don't know why it's so hard for me to go on dates or get dates. And so then it starts to affect your confidence. It starts to affect your mindset. You start believing you're not good enough. There's something wrong with you. You should be doing X, Y, Z that someone else is doing because it works for them. And it kind of just puts you in these negative, low vibration emotions.
Yeah, I think there is all that pressure of, like you say, of that trying to be the best version of ourselves, to present ourselves. It's almost like when you first go for a job interview, isn't it? There's all of that. Well, I've got to show my best side, but and try and be what we think they want us to be. But
yes,
but actually, we don't know what they want us to be. So it's kind of wasted, isn't it?
It
but
is.
I think yeah.
Yeah, it's very wasted because you're trying to figure out like, oh, they want me to be like this, so I'm going to be like this.
Yeah.
And then what happens is because you're falsely representing this side of you, then you're falsely attracting love, because it's not the from your authentic self. So then when the relationship gets going, it may result in marriage, and then it's not sustainable to be that persona you put out there. Then it's like the relationship starts having problems, or the marriage starts having problems, and you're like, well, I don't know, she just changed or he just changed.
I hear that so often. I've been through it myself as well. I can remember saying, you're not the person I met, but actually there's a lot in there for the simple reason, like we said, we want to put the best of ourselves forward, and so do they. So we're not going to show those bits that we may not be so happy about ourselves. But I think there's also that projection. We ignore the bits that may be negative about what we see in them. We just want to see this knight in shining armor on a beautiful horse, trusty steed, and that's what we see. We in our mind's eye. Oh yeah, they fit every kind of thing. They tick all the boxes. But then when the blinkers come off, it's he's got really rusty armor. And that isn't a horse, that's a really old nag, fit for the knacker's yard.
Yes.
Because we've taken those glasses off. And I think how many times that happens with people. So how do you get over that one?
So I think, like you mentioned, we don't want to show the certain parts of ourselves that we're not happiest with. So I think it's understanding those parts of ourselves that we're not happiest with and accepting them as they are and finding a way to love that part of ourselves anyway. So I'm not happy that, I've gained 15 pounds in COVID-19, but it's still me. I'm still me, and I love my body. And I know that I can lose the weight if I decide to. I know I can change my eating if I decide to. So I don't need to beat myself up. I don't need to take that away from who I am. And when you have that acceptance for yourself, you can have that acceptance for others, or the men that they're not going to be perfect. They're going to have some flaws that maybe they're uncomfortable with, but it's okay. No one wakes up in the morning and is like, I want to take advantage of people today. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's trying their best to do the best they can with what they have, and everyone has insecurities. So if you can just accept your own insecurities first, it's a lot easier to accept others and too, with love and compassion.
So it's more about acceptance.
Yes.
And
yes.
Compassion, of course, but acceptance. But what about if you get those warning signs? Because, there are times when you're thinking, this doesn't sound right to me, but what do you do with that?
This in my coaching, I put a lot of focus on connection to the inner spirit, because that's your intuition. And when you are connected to that, you get comfortable with how your particular intuition shows up. So intuition is so subtle. It's like a faint whisper. It's not this big, mean, showy announcement. It's very, very quiet. So you can regularly connect to that, then you are more familiar with how it sounds when it comes up, and you can recognize those immediately, and you trust what your intuition tells you, and like, okay, I don't like it, I'm going to back away, or I'm not going to engage with this guy, he seems weird or something. But yeah, I put a lot of focus on really trusting your inner self and listening to that voice, recognizing it, so you can, because it's really the only, honestly, otherwise you get all in your head, you know what I mean? You get in your head and you start trying to figure things out, and it turns into your inner critic versus your intuition that you start listening to.
Yeah. And I think that's it, isn't it? Is that, but I think there is, some people say that you should just dismiss your inner critic. I don't believe in that. I think that inner critic is there, that negative there, to just make you stop and think and question it rather than agree with it. I always think, be curious about that. You know, what is that voice trying to tell me? Is it really true? Is it something I should consider?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just dismissing it totally out of hand. Because I think sometimes it may be involved with our intuition as well, you know, that the two can work hand in hand. And I think when people say, oh no, just think positive, ignore your inner critic, that's not really, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good advice personally.
I agree with you because it makes sense. The inner critic is a part of you. There's a reason why that voice is there. It's usually out of protection because you've already gone through things in your life where there needed to be protection. And so now that voice kind of comes up whenever there's a threat or a perceived threat, you know, around you. So I don't think you should ignore it. I think you should make friends with it and become friends with that inner critic. So you can recognize, I named my inner critic. I gave my inner critic a name. So she's her own character. So when Wanda shows up, I'm like, hey, Wanda, what do you want me to know? And I engage in that. So it's not like this constant battle with myself.
Yeah. I think that's really good advice. I agree with you. It's great to. I love the idea of naming it. Yeah. What you're doing here? How come you showed up? What's going on? Yeah. I think that's really, really great advice because you know what? If we didn't have that protection, we'd walk out in the traffic. If we didn't, you know, we'd have an accident. We'd do all sorts of things that were crazy. So it's there to protect us, but just sometimes. Wanda overreacts on occasions.
She does, but I have to hear her out and listen to what she wants to tell me. Yeah. And then, you know, we can discuss it, you know, and see where to go from there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, have that discussion. And that's how I feel as well. Well, you know, what is going on? Is this in the here and now? Or is it something from way back? You know, sometimes there's something way back that is niggled and suddenly come up and you're thinking, well, is this relevant to this situation, or is this history? Has she just gone and got her spade out and started shoveling and digging up stuff that isn't relevant right now?
Yeah. Wanda likes to do that.
So, talking about the pandemic, I think online dating is, it can be a minefield, I think. So, and I guess a lot of people will be doing more online dating because of the situation we're in at the moment. So what are your thoughts on that?
I actually think it's a great time to do online dating because you are in a situation, most people are in a situation where you're limited in where you go, how many people you can be around. You know, all the restaurants aren't open, activities are restricted. So you are forced to have conversations with people. You're forced right now to really start looking at the words they're speaking, the words you're saying, how you're engaging on the things you like to do in your life. Whereas before the pandemic, we had so many distractions. If you're at a nightclub or a happy hour, I guess they have those in the UK, happy hours. You're distracted because you got the music, you've got alcohol, you've got people around you, you've got your girlfriends, you know, so this guy could be a bum, but hey, you know, I'm having a good time. You know what I mean? Whereas now all those distractions are very limited now. So you're forced to engage in conversations. And conversations tell you a lot about a person. And I think they're the best way to kind of get a lot of information about a person in a short amount of time where you can make decisions and be like, you know, I don't really want to engage with that guy anymore. I'm going to, you know, whatever you do on the dating platforms, you know, and it's easier. You're on So it's easier to tell someone like, I gotta go. I don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think right now is the best time to take advantage of the online dating and just as a platform to have conversations.
Yeah, and I can see your point, because yes, there are no distractions. You are sitting there and you are talking. You can't just look across. Well, you could look across the room, but you know, you're not going to have, as you say, the music and other people and the alcohol, unless you're drinking alcohol when you're online dating. Probably not the best idea, because yeah, that could be more tricky. But yeah, I think it is just nice to sit and talk and really listen to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it takes the pressure off when you can just be sitting in your home and, you know, have a conversation with someone just casually that you meet, whether it may be, you know, like this over a Zoom call, or it could be you're doing it through email or the messaging. It kind of takes that pressure off of trying to be seen a certain way. You know, you put on all your makeup and your hair and the clothes and the heels and you go out because you want to be seen a certain way, but is that really who you are?
Yeah.
But I think with online dating, if you allow yourself, you can be more open to have just open conversation about things and life and stuff like that.
So how much do you disclose of yourself in these? You know, you have these kind of profiles to fill in, and you know, you always hear the story about someone who put a photo on their image that's like 20 years old or something.
Yeah.
So what are your tips here, you know?
So I think, me personally, if the guy has just one picture and the picture is not either a full body picture or an action shot picture, then so the more pictures they have of themselves, probably most likely those pictures are true to life, you know what I mean? And pay attention to the things in the pictures. So that gives away, like that'll date the pictures for you. So some of the in the pictures or the activities they're doing in the pictures, the clothes they're wearing in the pictures will tell you how dated the picture is. So pictures where like it's just like their eyes, they just take a picture like it's this close. No. No. Or they don't have a picture as their profile. They have a car, they have a pet, they have, I don't know, the beach. There's no picture on their profile. Don't trust that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good advice. Good advice. What about what they put up? You know, they're kind of what they write about themselves.
That's a good question. I always say find the value in their, is it their bio, their tagline, what they write about themselves. So if they're not talking about any values in their description, then run for the hills. They either like copied that bio from somewhere and pasted it on their online dating site, or they really are about nothing. They have nothing to offer. So I would focus on looking for the value when you're looking through the profiles of different guys.
Again, good advice. Yes, I think there is, because I think some of them, maybe they're, I guess somebody could be quite shy, but even and it's easy to make that excuse. Oh, they're shy and they don't like to do that. But then I think if we make all those excuses and allow that, we're not putting the boundaries in for ourselves.
Correct. You're right. That's absolutely right. Boundaries are extremely important with any type of online dating or in-person dating. And if you are clear on your values, And I always tell women, narrow it down to like the top 3 to 5 most important values for you. Like you can shoot it off at any moment. This is what is it's a deal breaker if I don't have this, this, and this in my life with myself, with the people around me, because it's so important to you. If, a lot of women like to have like lists. Like they have these lists of 25, 30 things they're looking for in a guy. And I'm like, you can't remember all that. There's no way. So like, what is the most important top 3 to 5 things you have to make you feel loved and valued and appreciated? Those are the things you want to mention. And so if you just focus on matching up that to what you're looking for, that 3 to 5 things to what you're looking for, then it'll put you in the right direction every time. You don't have to really worry.
Because I think that's it. Sometimes people could be, I think sometimes people can get caught up in just the physical side, the looks, and they get carried away. And I think, of course, the chemistry has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think also when they talk about values, I think sometimes it worries me when people say that we have the same hobbies. Now, the hobbies you're going to have when you're in your 20s, you're not going to have in your 50s. Mm-hmm. So if you're into skateboarding, when you're in your early 20s, which you could be, but you're not going to be doing that when you're 50s. So I take that as an extreme of hobbies. Or mountaineering, or I don't know, whatever it is, surfing. Yeah, I think that can be very misguided as well. I think there are other things you need to think about as your values. Maybe religion comes into it.
Yes.
I think things like, are you somebody who likes to be an extrovert, and are you curious about the world? Would you like to travel? Do you want to be? Would you like to go to other places? Or are you actually somebody who's a real home bird, lived in the same place since you were born and never want to move out of that area and have no desire to? It's not because it's not about you because you haven't done it, but have you got a desire to? Have you got that curiosity about the world? I think those kinds of things.
Yes.
You want children? I mean, that's a big one because that can get in the way. Have you got children? Do you want children? Because that, again, can be such a deal breaker in a relationship. I can change them. They'll change their mind. No, they won't.
No.
So,
No.
What else would you add into that one? Because I've come up with about 3. You must have some really good ones in there.
Yeah. So in my coaching, like the first meeting we have is a 90-minute deep dive on values. And because a lot of people think, like you said, they think they're like, oh, I like people. I want to date someone that's athletic and likes to work out and goes hiking. But I'm like, is that what you tend to do for the rest of your life? Like no matter what, you're going hiking. And then they're like, well, no, I mean, I probably won't be hiking when I'm 50, 60, 70. Maybe, and some people are like, yeah, I am. Then that's a top priority for you. List that down. But if you have like, oh no, it's just something I like to do, take that off the list. That's not a priority. So like for myself, sharing, trusting, and connection is very important to me. So not just with someone I date or have a relationship with, but my friends, my coworkers, my neighbors. That's very important to me. So it's in every part of my life. I can't not have that. So those are the top 3 for me that I must have in a relationship, and I must look for that when I start dating. So I wouldn't be looking for, well, I want someone, that wants to go out and eat and try new restaurants. That's great, but that is like not going to get it for me. I need more than that.
Well, you can't eat out forever.
Right. If you're in a pandemic with eating out, what do you do then?
Yeah.
So I think there's a difference between, like you said, things we like to do, hobbies, interests, and people just bulk it up. Well, we have the same interest. We like to do the same things. That could change. Usually values don't change. Values are usually your values pretty much most of your life. They may change a little bit, but usually it's the same throughout your life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they can change, because our views change with the more information that we have, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And views do change socially. I think, we have a different view about, I don't know, about women. Women are, if you go back 50 years or so, women really were expected to, they really were second-class citizens. And in some countries, they still are in some societies. So, yeah, things do change. But I think there are things that fundamentally you're right. I mean, the one thing I just could not stomach at any price would be a bigot. Someone who has got that, if they've got those kind of views, then no, they don't deserve a place in my life. And that's the word, isn't it? Deserve.
Yes. You're absolutely right. And I think with women, we have been taught to be nice. So like if you feel uncomfortable speaking up, this is what I expect, this is what I have to have. So for a lot of women, they don't communicate that right off the bat. They want to be seen as nice.
Yeah.
They don't want to come across as too aggressive or too assertive. But the problem is, as time goes on with a person, it becomes harder and harder to let them go because your feelings get tied in. You've grown into this habit of dating or a habit of a relationship, but your needs are. So I think it's important to exercise that muscle of expressing your values early on. And so I tell women, mention your values in your bio, mention it in your tagline, in your about section. So it's repeated in several places. So they're like, okay, this girl wants connection, trust, and she's sharing is very important to her. So it's either they're like, that sounds great. That sounds like somebody I could connect with. Or they're going to be like, ugh, let me move along.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're kind of separating the getting rid of the ones that you're not even going to bother with, and I guess I think the thing is that if we're accepting what we're going to do, is draw those people to us even more, because we're Miss Nice Guy, nice lady, nice woman, but that is that. Well, yeah, I can accept anything, and then what we see is that. That's how we believe all guys are, and therefore we're not looking for the others, because that's all we're drawing to us, because we haven't got those boundaries in there.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So when you see the pattern keep showing up for you, then you believe, well, that's what exists. That's the only thing that's out there, and that's really not the truth.
Some great advice there, definitely.
Yeah.
So you work with women around dating, so that is that's brilliant.
Yeah.
So what is one tip? I mean, we've gone through a lot really, but what is one thing that a woman can put in place right this minute? What would you say that they could do right now?
I would say right now, just let go of trying to figure out dating. Just be in the feeling of love. Yes, because you will attract what you feel all the time. So if you are feeling love within yourself, attract love.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to figure out dating per se, just feel in love. And you can feel in love by doing things that you love to do, being around people you love to be around, having around you of things you love to look at, beauty, art, whatever it is, nature. But the more you can put yourself in that feeling, the easier it is to call in that attraction for what you want, which is love.
Great. That's really good. Yeah, feeling that love, I think it is important. Yeah. So how can people get in touch with you? I will put all your details in the show notes so people can read it and get in touch with you. Anything that you also do, I mean, or any offers you've got, I mean, I'll put them all in the show notes for sure. But if someone's just listening, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
The easiest way to get in touch with me is my website. My website is www.farrahblakely.com. And I do have a freebie that I'm promoting, and it's how to win at online dating, even in a pandemic. So it's just a PDF download. It's really short, and it kind of gives you 3 areas that to focus on if you're considering online dating during the pandemic. And that's at farrahblakely.com/date. So they can pick that up there.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. And I really enjoyed listening today. And chatting. I've learnt things, and it's been great fun too. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy, so much for inviting me on. This has been really fun.
I hope you've enjoyed today's show and my guest. If you'd like to learn more about my guest or about me, then go to my website, wendycapewell.co.uk. So until next time, have a great week. Bye.